Hello viewers, and welcome to another of our comparison videos looking at F1 2015, and again looking at 2010, 2011, 2014 and 2015 compared here at Monza. Now, to make this video work, you really need to watch it in 60 frames, because otherwise you're losing half the visual data that you're seeing now on a new console compared to an old one. This isn't just about what Codemasters have done in terms of changing things, it's more down to the power of the console as well and where that is. In some cases, it's hard work getting more out of a new console. In other cases, it's going to be a case of building bit by bit. But one of the things I noticed straight away, I think that's lacking in F1 2015 for me at the moment, is tarmac detail. It's something I highlighted recently on Forza 6 videos. They have excellent tarmac detail, especially around circuits like Sebring. There's a lot of rubber laid on the surface. I noticed when you look at the surface, that there's just not the sort of rubber being laid down. There's not the braking marks. There's not the life, if you like, of the tarmac. And I think that's something which is a bit of a shame. You know, I think it really could do with a bit more life to it. Certainly give a nicer feeling of speed and movement. I think when you go down this back straight under the bridge, and you know, it's just not the sort of wear and tear there on the circuit I'd like to see. And I think when you look up at 2011, you do see a lot more sort of detail there. Obviously they had a more defined racing line all the way around back then, which wasn't more realistic. But F1 2010 visually looks really nice, but from a handling perspective it's all over the place. F1 2014, I was playing with the controller, so I'm terribly slow on that. I really struggle with the PS3 controller on that. But you can see a better comparison between 2014 and 15 here than perhaps in the cockpit cam video we looked at with Singapore. F1 2011, I mean, obviously the physics were more limited, but I enjoyed 2011. I thought it was a really nice balance, and it was just fun to drive at the time. Just enjoyed that a great deal. F1 2014, of course, I was playing it with a wheel, and it was the spinny wheels just didn't feel quite right. And that's where now on 2015 they've managed to tie that sort of feeling together. So you know, the simulation of the car in 2015, there's a lot more depth to it as we go down towards Ascari. Into the apex. So yeah, certainly now there's a lot more feel to the car. I look forward to testing it. I have my PS4 version now, so you're going to be seeing a few more comparisons between that and other versions on the channel. No doubt half of YouTube will get it today, and there'll be millions of videos from all of your favourite F1 YouTubers, and they'll no doubt have their own opinions on everything. But I think visually, I think that's where it's lacking a little bit of substance. Is, you know, I've been looking at what is it that, and I think one I mentioned on my first video was the lack of palette. It was a very pastel-y palette, it wasn't as sharp. But I think it's just weathering the track a bit more in terms of detail and getting a bit more of almost a gritty feel in a way. And that's something that the older F1 titles had. They had a bit more overall detail to them, as I completely missed the braking there on F1 2010. Another interesting point there, actually, the braking on F1 2010 was far longer than the other F1 games. So I hit my brakes at the same point, flew straight off. So it's really interesting how the braking has changed, and obviously when you're jumping from game to game very quickly to make these videos, you really see the difference. But I wanted to actually keep that in rather than running it again, because something just reminded me of the difference in terms of approach. And generally you have much more feel now when the car's going to spin out as well. You didn't have that feeling before, and it's something that I criticised 2011 about at the time, was just occasionally the car would spin out in slow corners, and I really felt that I had no warning. You know, it was just something when you turn off the traction control that it just felt a bit unstable, in a similar way to 2010, but a bit worse than 2011. But either way, I hope you've enjoyed this little comparison between all of them. I hope you're enjoying F1 2015. Do let me know your feedback, and there'll be more action from me very soon.